So one of the things I love about glutathione is it actually repairs damaged cells, and it protects and rejuvenates stem cells.
"83% of Americans identify as not very happy, which can hold you back and negatively affect your relationships and your business." On this podcast, we discuss the proven steps to happiness so you can restore balance and rekindle your joy.
Welcome to another episode of How to Be Happier for Entrepreneurs. Man, do we have a cool subject today, and that is anti-aging. Anti-aging, who doesn't want to live longer and appear younger and feel better? So our expert today is Darlene. Darlene, welcome so much to the show.
Thank you, Brad. It's such an honor to be on your show.
All right, so we're going to jump right in. Explain this reverse aging. What does it entail, and how did you come to specialize in this area?
Yeah. So if you can imagine your body, most of us think of us as just getting older and things starting to break down day after day. And some of that really happens. Like when we're 30, half of our stem cells are dormant. And when we're 60, they're almost all dormant, which is why we don't heal as quickly, and we don't recover from illnesses or even injury as quickly. Well, there's a way to actually activate those stem cells that are dormant in your body, wake them up, put them back to work, and get them doing the things they're supposed to do, from healing and regenerating and building new stem cells and duplicating and really facilitating your body's optimization of its own health. And I got into this because my husband was diagnosed with early Alzheimer's. And everything that I looked at was talking stem cells. So we initially did go out of country 4 times to get him IV stem cells and injections. I got them too because I was battling 4 autoimmune disorders: chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, POTS, which is postural orthostatic tachycardia, where I would just stand up and just faint and pass out and hit my head. And it was very bad. I was actually grounded from driving for a couple of weeks while they figured out what I had. And these are things that have started. I got my diagnosis in 1995 and 6 and 99 and 2005. So long-standing autoimmune issues. The stem cell IV and injections did not help us. These stem cell activation pouches helped in the first week. I have not had to take any medicines at all. I don't have any symptoms of my autoimmune disorders at all. My husband immediately, in the first week, he went from being kind of a zombie and no longer his personality, unable to communicate or talk and asking the same question over and over again, sleeping the day away, 3.5-hour naps, to completely awake, engaging in conversation like a dam had broken, and really engaging appropriately, and back to his funny, flirty personality. We got to see numbers drop, cholesterol, blood pressure, hair growth, even got back his sense of smell, which had been lost 15 years before. And that's an early warning indicator for Alzheimer's. So that's how I got into this technology and began to, in the first week, I was like, okay, Mom, Dad, Dina, my sister, everybody, you guys you all need to be on this right now. And then got to see the benefits to them, got to see it and share it with other friends, began to dive into all the 90 clinical studies and find out everything I could. I'm a bit of a learner. I love your podcast because I get to learn all sorts of things about very interesting ways of improving happiness and joy and manifesting destiny, all of it. I love it all. So I'm a learner, and I just dove in, and I have not stopped. There has been nothing in my life that is as rewarding as helping people get out of pain and improve their health. It's not my day job. It's not what I do full time, but I absolutely have a passion for it that I just love.
Man, so many similarities between you and I. First of all, I'm doing something, helping people find happiness is been my passion. That this is why God put me on this plane, and it's just so amazing because I can't get enough of it. So I research and read all the time. The other thing we have in common is tachycardia. From about 10 to till I got it fixed at around 25, I had supraventricular tachycardia, which means my heart rate would go 220 beats a minute to the point where I wanted to pass out too. So really interesting. You mentioned autoimmune disease, multiple autoimmune disease. Through all of my studies over these last 3 years, I have found many doctors that say a lot of autoimmune and like doctors like to say idiopathic when they can't come up with a reason, they just say idiopathic. So a lot of autoimmune is caused by stress and inflammation. Did you do, besides just the stem cells, did you also do some type of mindset slash mental work?
So, way back in the beginning of being diagnosed, I began working on mind work, from manifesting to meditation to stress management to breathing to exercise to nutrition I did it all. I researched it all. I took stress management classes. I was certainly coming from very stressful relationships that probably did cause my autoimmune disorders, if I'm really being honest about it, or my response to the relationship caused it. But so I tried to take control as much as possible and do the things that I could, and I made a lot of progress, but not. I still was having to take a medicine to keep from passing out, a prescription. I mean, nobody wants a prescription where you have to raise your blood pressure. Who wants to take a pill to raise your blood pressure? So it didn't change anything in the time frame after starting the patches because I was already doing all of that.
Gotcha. So I'm going to give you my input on what you just said about the relationships. What I have learned, and I'm not saying it's your case, but in most people's cases, it's not the relationship as an adult. It's a relation. It's what happened as a child and the meanings that you placed on yourself that got you into that relationship that caused you even more stress. That's what we do, right? We take our childhood and we recreate it with these stressful relationships, and then they just compound the stress. Anyway, how long ago was it that you started this journey with your husband in the stem cells?
So I would say 6 years ago, we began the journey of understanding he had an issue. 5 years ago, we got the diagnosis. His decline was incredibly rapid, where what would normally take 13 years, he declined in two. Partly because he had the APOE44 gene type, so he's got the Alzheimer's gene from both parents, and because he's early Alzheimer's, so it's more aggressive. And he had all of the stellar pillars like sleep apnea, insulin resistance, some of the things that cause, if you have sleep apnea, you're 70% more likely to get Alzheimer's. Most people, 70 to 80% of people with Alzheimer's have insulin resistance and or mold. We actually found mold in both of us that we had to work on clearing out of our system. So lots of those kinds of things.
Well, I was diagnosed with sleep apnea a couple of years ago, the only reason I found out is because I got the Aura ring, and my deep sleep was like 12 minutes. And now I use a CPAP machine, and it's crazy because I'm a health nut. I thought people with sleep apnea were like overweight, which isn't the case, right? It has to do with genetics of your throat.
Mhm.
So anyway,
I'm glad
70%.
you're treating that, Brad. That makes me really happy that you're getting that treated because that oxygen to the brain is critical, right?
Yeah, I just wonder how many years I didn't have that. So I really need to work on my breathing. So how is your husband doing today, Darlene?
So the things that improved for him stayed improved. His personality is still with us. He's still talking. He will have conversations with you, and he is adamant and passionate. And you would think he knows exactly what he's saying, even if he doesn't make sense. Like he just doesn't have the grasp of the words, right? So he is still declining overall. He is still age 5, and that means he requires 24/7 care.
Mm.
He is at stage 6A on the fast scale. And so the next things that will decline for him would be things like the ability to shower by himself, the ability to toilet himself. Right now, he is most of the time capable of dressing himself, but not necessarily having the order of operations right. He is absolutely the sweetest man on the planet. And we have had a beautiful, blessed, gorgeous marriage. He's an angel. So
Oh, so
I have to work hard at making sure I stay in gratitude for the experiences that we have had and the love that we have had in the midst of really the loss. So I'm always trying to kind of create joy and happiness in the midst of grief. This is a grieving process. It's very ambiguous grief, right? Because he's standing in front of me, but he's really not my husband.
yeah. Yeah, that's a beautiful thing. I mean, the way that you're approaching it, and my life partner has been asking me to read this book for a while. I want to, called The Journey of Souls, and it's that where our souls prick our journeys, and that You can believe it or not. I don't know if it's true or not, but like he picked this, like he picked this illness, and he picked you as a partner, and you're learning so much and he's learning so much. So I
Mhm.
don't know. It's just a beautiful way to look at life, right? If we picked all of our I don't know, can we even call them issues? Because
Right.
I think we're coming back and we've been here, and maybe he's learning something, and certainly you're both learning something. So not
Right.
trying to minimize it at all, because I know it's stressful. But if you can look at life that things are always happening for us, it's just a better way to live life, I think.
It is.
So let's get into these. What are the core principles or techniques that you advocate in this reverse aging program, and how do they differ from conventional anti-aging methods?
Well, most conventional anti-aging methods, well, let me put it this way. I don't think there really are many in the Western medicine pharmaceutical arena. I think drugs don't get us there. There are benefits, but there are negative side effects. And so one of the things that is the most remarkably different about this is there is no drug involved in this. There's no medicine. There's no contraindication. It's 100% safe. It is it is basically signaling your body to elevate peptides in your body that are very good for us. Now there is a big push right now in the world of peptides. And,
Yep.
and so peptides are huge in reverse aging right now, which is great. But there's a difference between injecting a peptide and elevating your peptide yourself. So if you think about it, when you go out in the sun, your body responds to the light by making vitamin D.
Right.
Similarly, melanin or cholesterol can actually even be testosterone can even be increased if a man has his shoulders in the sun, it can actually increase their testosterone. So this is called photobiomodulation, and this is a little tiny quarter-size patch. And what it does is it reflects the light that's already inside of you at a very specific wavelength. So if I looked at you with night vision goggles on, I would see light. I would see light through your shirt. I would see light through a house. I would see the light that shines from within you with night vision goggles on. And then what I'm doing with this patch is it's like a little lattice structure of amino crystals, hermetically sealed, and reflecting your own light back at a very specific wavelength that has been proven and patented to increase stem cells, produce growth factors, improve brain and nerves, improve heart health, improve healing in tissue, has amazing anti-cancer benefits, including actually resetting 84 genes to protect against cancer. It protects lungs, improves skin and hair. I mean, it's just a world of, including pain relief because of the anti-inflammation effects. So it's amazing. And I will tell you right up front, because I know that there are a million people in your audience that are going, yeah, I'm not buying that. Because I was there. I was 100% like, I do not believe
It sounds too good to be true.
any little Band-Aid thing could possibly make a difference. I didn't really know anything about energy healing. I didn't really know anything about light therapy. I knew infrared sauna was good for us. I knew red light therapy even. I actually do red light therapy. So I knew a little bit, but not really much, and had zero belief. However, I was absolutely desperate. My husband, nothing was working. We had done hyperbaric chamber. We had done Dr. Bredeson's protocol. We had gone out of country for stem cells. So this was like, well, it's $99 for 1 month. Like, why not give it a try? There's a money back guarantee. Not going to hurt to try it, stick it on. Let's see how it goes. And so the remarkable improvement, was beyond anything I was ever expecting or believing in. And watching things happen to my husband, like his bald spot closing in and his hair growing in dark, my hair growing in darker. I mean, just all of these things that you're not thinking of. Like, some people will say, well, placebo effect, right? Well, okay. But if you're not thinking, I don't think my husband was really thinking about his bald spot closing up. He was not capable of that kind of advanced thought. And we've got people who drop their A1C, their cholesterol, their triglycerides, their C-reactive protein, their cortisol, their blood pressure, all sorts of.
So, Darlene, is this something you stumbled across?
Yes, a friend of mine, basically my hairdresser, knew I'd gone out of country for stem cells and said, I have a friend who's experiencing this amazing improvement in her health and in her cousin's health, who has leukemia, and in her daughter's health, she has like autism. And they were just blown away by what was going on in their family. And she said, I want you to talk with her. So I talked with her, and she said, this is what this does. And I said, sure. Okay. I'll try it. Why not? Oh, it resets 4,000 genes in the first 24 hours. Okay, sure. But then I dove into all the studies, and they're really, it is so well studied, 90 clinical studies. In fact, there are brain studies, there's heart study that prove the differences. You can actually see it on imaging, and you can see it on my website. You can actually see the brain study. You can see the improvement in the heart study. And so I have to tell you, I have since been able to help people get out of pain. And there are patches that are just for pain. That's the one that really kind of convinces everyone that these are really working right out of the gate, because everything else takes time. You do not regenerate stem cells and start feeling relief from core issues overnight. But the pain reduction patches, they work within a minute. They can take people who are at a 15. I've asked a 74-year-old woman, what's your pain level right now? 1 to 10. It's a 15. And she'd been living in that pain for years. We put the patches on her and it dropped to 0, stayed there. And she talked to me a week later and she said, you have saved my life. Like, I did not want to keep living. So the ability to do that for people is just astonishing.
So let's use me as an example here. I'm going to be a little selfish. I'm 51 years old. I'm in, I think, incredible health. I've got 82 labs I get tested every 3 months, and like 78 or really close to 78 are ideal. But I want to live to be 110 years old or more. Would you say, Brad, you should do this type of patch? And then if I did it, how could I see or track or notice the differences?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say do the stem cell activation patch. If you don't think you have inflammation, most people have an issue, Brad. So if you don't have an issue that you're trying to fix.
I do. I have some acne and rosacea stuff, so I have to have inflammation.
Okay, you do. You're absolutely right. So there's a patch that reduces inflammation. And since inflammation eats up stem cells, we want to reduce inflammation, elevate your stem cell activity. And I had rosacea. It knocked it out in 3 months. It took a while, but it did knock it out. There is also a patch that's very good for acne, which is glutathione, which you may be taking already. Are you familiar with the power of glutathione?
I think I take a lot of supplements. I think it's one of the ones I take.
Now, glutathione is phenomenal, and it is really hard to get it in and help it to work effectively for you, but it is superior for not just acne. Glutathione is your body's master antioxidant, and it is the thing that actually the people who live the longest in the world, Brad, have the highest levels of glutathione. So one of the things I love about glutathione is it actually repairs damaged cells, and it protects and rejuvenates stem cells. It is known to reduce inflammation, but it's really good for increasing collagen and regenerating cartilage. And it does great things for the skin because it's improving organ function, and your skin just happens to be your largest organ, right? So it's detoxifying even heavy metals. And so you're boosting your immune system, you're reducing inflammation. And I know that I probably can't even say this, but I will try to imply, when you do the stem cell activation patch, the anti-inflammation patch, and the glutathione patch, people who have had spike proteins from the COVID or the COVID vaccination, or even shedding, have found in testing between before where they had spike proteins and then 2 months later after patching those 3 patches, they do not have spike proteins anymore. That's huge because spike proteins can offer such a huge impact to our lungs and our gut and our brain and our heart. So there are patches that I would recommend. Those 3 are, they'll say the stem cell activation patch is good. The stem cell activation and anti-inflammation patch is better. The stem cell activation and anti-inflammation and glutathione patch, that trio is the best.
So you get one patch with 3 of them. You don't have to wear 3 different patches.
You would wear 3 different patches. Each, like the stem cell activation patches is $99. The others can be as low as $49.
And where do you put them on your body?
So good question. So if you were injured in any way, let's say you have a shoulder injury, I would tell you to put them right there. In fact, there was a study done with people who had knee issues. All of the participants were scheduled for knee surgery. They put the 3 patches on their knee, and in 2 months, none of them went on to have knee surgery. And they found that it had actually, their knees had regenerated cartilage.
Fascinating. Fascinating. I'm going to be buying those tonight. So I know you have a remarkable book. Tell us about your book.
Aw, thanks. My book is called Become Empowered: Echoes of Grace and Strength, the real life stories of women triumphant transformation and triumph. And it's really my journey, the very tough couple of first marriages that I had that were emotionally and physically abusive that I survived and got out of, and then thrived into this new relationship and this fabulous, 20 years that Jim and I have been together. And only to discover that now he's got Alzheimer's and the crushing blow that affords you, right? But then how to find that silver lining and find gratitude and to triumph in the midst of that sorrow, really. So that's kind of what I'm just a chapter in the book, but there's a lot of really amazing stories and heroic women.
Beautiful. So I wanted to speak more about anti-aging. Are you also, besides the patches, do you constantly study like what do the next 20 years look like? And if you're someone that's in their 50s that is in really great shape, what could be the future life expectancy?
So a good question. I think that it's going to depend for people, individual people, really how well are they detoxing. So that glutathione is your body's master detoxer in addition to being your body's immune system. We are bombarded with toxins from our water, from our food, soil. Like we're having trouble getting nutrition, all of the things that we need to be doing. So it's just not enough to sort of walk through your daily life anymore, I think, and hope for the best. You really do need to be making sure you are building muscle as you age. I mean, the number one cause of all cause morbidity is actually falls. What's causing falls? Lack of muscle. What's the number one muscle people are actually lacking? You would think it would be your legs or your back. It's actually your big toe. Your big toe is your stability muscle. And when you lose ability in your feet, you actually lose. So there's a lot of things to study, right? There's a lot of things to study. And one of the things that I can tell you that I'm doing is making sure I'm up on my nutrition, making sure I'm really looking at my macros. Am I getting enough protein? Am I getting enough carbs? Am I getting enough of the good fats? Do I have out of my diet the poisons and the toxins so that I can give my body a break? Am I building muscle and exercising, and not just building muscle, but doing cardio as well for my heart? Am I getting enough sleep, good sleep? You and I talked earlier about the importance of deep sleep, REM sleep, all of those, and measuring it and tweaking it, making sure you've got a good sleep protocol and a good sleep hygiene. And then are you doing the things for your emotional and spiritual health? Are you with friends? Are you finding gratitude? Are you able to connect? Are you able to be, I love that you and Yvette talk about vulnerability and the criticality of being yourself and not wearing a mask. And the stress of trying to pretend to be somebody that you're not is too great a burden every day.
How do you track the macros and the sleep?
Yeah, I have two ways. One, the macros I track in MyFitnessPal, which is an app that I basically have programmed my week of what the macros are and what I like to do to hit them. The only way I can actually hit them properly and get them zeroed out is to plan my day of feeding ahead of time. So I will, the night before or the morning before I get out of bed, even when I'm going to a restaurant, like I will look at the restaurant menu, pick out what I'm going to order, put it in, and then I'll build the rest of my day around that. So I'm not limited it doesn't feel like a diet. It just feels like a budget, like a management plan. So I track my macros in MyFitnessPal, and then I track my sleep. My mattress, my Tempur-Pedic mattress, actually has a reading and a recording that it gives me every day. I get an update of everything, but I also have an Apple Watch that could do it when I'm traveling.
So I have a Tempur-Pedic bed that my girlfriend Yvonne convinced me to get, and I'm so glad she did. But I didn't pay the extra, whatever it was, to get the reading. Is that something you can put on extra, or do you have to buy it with the bed? Do you have any idea?
I think you buy it with the bed. And I think I said Yvonne's name wrong earlier, so apologies for that. But yeah, I think you buy it. There are things you can put on the bed, but I think your Aura Ring is probably pretty great. So in fact, that's a stellar instrument for.
So how much deep sleep do you get a night?
So my deep sleep used to be 15 minutes.
Me too.
and I was working hard at it. And I mean, I took a sleep course. I did the blackout. I have all the little lights are covered up with little things. I was taking lavender and putting on red light glasses and blocking light. And we literally changed the lights in the bathroom so that we have red lights at night where we only turn on the red lights. We just don't ruin our night vision or our night cycle, essentially. Getting our grounding in the morning, outside in the sun, getting our eyes on the morning sun, 15 minutes, doing all the things, still 15 minutes of deep sleep. And I was just like, ah. So imagine patching went from 15 minutes to over an hour in the second week, actually. My husband doubled. I think he got an hour and 40 minutes in week 2 of deep sleep, which almost had me crying because I was so elated because it was such a huge part of brain health. So I'm now, I would say I average about an hour and a half.
Wow.
And I got about 2.5 hours of REM sleep and then a lot of shadow.
So I generally feel pretty good on 50 minutes of deep sleep. So I can only imagine what I would be like if I could get 90 minutes of deep sleep. So the 3 patches that you mentioned that I'm literally going to buy today, one of those 3 patches going to help with the deep sleep?
Yeah, the patch that elevates your stem cell activation, that's going to help. The anti-inflammation patch is also going to help with your deep sleep. There is actually a patch that's specific for sleep. So if for some reason your sleep is really whacked out and your sleep cycle is screwed up, eventually we could try the other, but I wouldn't even begin there because most people find that this is enough. This is all you need.
Where do I get these patches?
So my website is iamreverseaging.com, but I would love for you and I to walk through, how do you wear it? Make sure you're drinking half of your body weight in ounces of water. Maybe make sure you're getting some electrolytes. Check if you don't. Awesome.
I'm holding up a 64-ounce Swell, which sometimes before I leave the gym in the morning, I drink 2.5 of these. So I drink a ton of water. No alcohol, no fruit juices, no nothing.
Good for you. Not me either. Do you get a little bit of sea salt, like Celtic salt under your tongue or a little electrolyte as well?
I use this amazing Celtic salt that I got from this health food store. Yeah.
Because those minerals are really important. Sometimes if people are not finding a response right away, we might check their copper levels and we might ask for someone to take a 2.5 milligram copper supplement because that helps elevate the copper peptide. The stem cell activation patch is elevating copper peptide. That's how it's doing its thing. And you can look in PubMed at 50 years of research on how great copper peptide is. They've actually had it in beauty products for years. And we have a lot of people who love the fact that our faces look younger, our wrinkles go away, our brown spots go away. We really have a visible sign of our reverse aging, which vanity is great, but it's the inner organs that are improving the health that I love so much.
Yeah, my dermatologist 2 days ago told me, she was like, take a bunch of zinc, but be careful not to take too much because it will reduce your copper levels.
Exactly. They need to be taken away from each other, zinc and copper.
Wow, interesting. Okay, so what do you think? Is there any in the field in the next 5 to 10 years? Are there any exciting developments or innovations on the horizon in terms of anti-aging?
There really are, and I don't. So the company that creates these patches is about to roll out a new technology. It's not a patch, and I don't know what it is yet. I had an opportunity to be with the inventor and the owner of our company just in the last 2 weeks. He talked about the incredible results they've seen in the lab, and that it's already patented. And I just don't know when it's coming out. It is the singular thing that has me more hopeful about the possibility of reversing my husband's Alzheimer's than anything, because we've gotten a long way with these patches. I need a little bit more. It's not quite enough yet. So I think that there are some new technologies coming about, and I can touch back with you in about 3 months and tell you what the next one is, but I don't know right now. But I have such great faith in our owner and our inventor, because not only does he have 150 patents in anti-aging and reverse aging, but he is a heart of gold, and he's just, it's a beautiful company helping people, not just with their health, but also with their wealth. And I mean, it's really a beautiful thing when you can help people across all planes. And so we We want to live long. We want to live with prosperity. We want to live with spiritual connections. And this company has really hit the mark for me on all those fronts. So lots of promising news there.
What do you mean when you said he's helping with people's wealth?
So there is, I mean, this is a business, and being a technology consultant, my patches are paid for. I just went on a trip to Greece for 2 weeks on a ship. I'm going to Dominican Republic in about, November, for an all expenses paid trip. So there is money to be made, and that's not why I do it, because I actually have a day job. And again, this isn't my full-time job. This is a part-time passion. But I love that people who would say, I can't afford the patches. Well, you can, because if you actually just bring 4 people in, you pay for your own patches. You don't have to have any money. And there are people who have been dead broke and had not a dime to their name, couldn't pay their car rent, couldn't pay their rent, who have now are financially free forever through passive residual income that is just unheard of. And you're really in charge of it yourself. Like, you're your own, nobody can put a lid on it, and nobody can stop you from working and helping other people heal and feel better. So I like that you get compensated for the time that you're investing in other people's health. And I appreciate that. I know, I have a military retirement. I did 20 years in the Navy. I have investments, but that money, I'm watching how fast that can go down the drain with something like Alzheimer's. I mean, it is the amount of protocols that we have done have been so expensive. Over $100,000 in a year we have spent on medical stuff. So I know how fast money can go down with a health issue or with care that's needed. So I love knowing that I'm building a passive residual income that will be my retirement plan for life and will continue to grow, continue to help other people. And it's not a question. I know it because new things are going to continue. This product is patented for 20 years. It's just an amazing thing.
Darlene, thank you for your service to our country, and thank you for coming on the podcast and sharing your wealth of knowledge. This has been amazing. I could talk to you for hours and hours. I may have to get you back for a second version at some time, but thank you.
Thank you, Brad. Thanks for your podcast. Thanks for what you and Yvonne do out in the world and all of the goodness and the wisdom that you share. I really think you're touching lives every day, and I appreciate you.
Thank you. I forgot to mention our quiz. So if you, we talked a little bit about childhood trauma and thoughts that could be causing the autoimmune disease. I think we started out with that. So if you want to see if you have any of these things stuck in your past, just take 3 minutes out of your day and go to unlocklimitlessyou.com/quiz and take the quiz. It may give you awareness. It will start you on a journey that will forever change your life in ways that you may not even be able to imagine. So thank you again, Darlene. That concludes another episode of How to Be Happier for Entrepreneurs. I'm on a quest to help 1 million people radically change their lives by getting rid of these self-limiting beliefs. So I can't do it alone. I spend a lot of time, a lot of money on this podcast. If I could just ask a favor, if you like this stuff, could you please share it, rate it, review it? Anything you could do to help me spread the word would be greatly appreciated. Until next time, love heals all.
Hit subscribe if you don't want to miss out on more life-changing content. And if you're struggling, you don't have to. Go to bradchandler.com/contact. There, you can join the Facebook community of like-minded entrepreneurs, and you'll see a button to schedule your freedom and happiness call. See you on the next episode.